my name is Franema, and this is second episode of me playing Stanley Parable Deluxe. Well, in the first we started like we always did, and then we got to a really weird place and spent quite a lot of time there. So let's see what we can do now.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
420. Anything interesting there? Yes, looks new content. Let's not go there.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's try to do some different decision going this way.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Let's go down.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Maybe.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
Okay, we are going
And
in
as Stanley
circles.
pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
But is it?
What a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
Yeah.
So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
Yeah, I do.
I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
I'm not sure.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
Good night.
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Please.
I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job,
especially.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Oh no. So
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
ooh. You know, in lucid dreams you can
This is
check
the
your
story
hands.
of a woman named Mariella.
Okay.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Okay. Hooray, we are back! Still not real time. Everything seems to be the same. No, I thought there was a message, but there wasn't.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, let's try new content. This would be really nice as, you know, I just don't know how to take print scheme. Is F12? Yes.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Show me. Okay, this was shorter than the last time. Let's go in the elevator! You
see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be.
I love it.
The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
That's so cute.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Check is missing. Taste the sequel. Please let me taste the sequel. I think we were fine.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
At least the offices are now modern. With actual, I would say, more current-looking computers. Old busted, new hotness. It must be fun to write this game. But this, yeah, the Stanley Parable DSP. Color red, yes. Start opening some more doors.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Sequel, prequel. Okay. This way to the show floor. No, I can't fit there. New content. Okay, I want to sit down and watch it. New features. I first read it as like new fear. New content. Even bus. We have bus. Isn't it beautiful? But yeah, I can actually leave this. But it is like a little bit less interacting than what I remember from...
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Okay. Reassurance bucket. I read in some review that you can have emotional attachment to the bucket, so I want to get it. New features. What about like... things. Hear your name in the game. Okay, if they can pronounce Franema, they will get...
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Oh, that's me. I look good. Infinite Hall. It won't end. Free achievement. Let's go for free achievement. I'm so easy. You know, I just see the arrow to the new achievement and I just go for it. We'll deliver. No more steps, it just works.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
But I want to so easy. No, I cannot go back. I actually didn't finish going through those rooms. Can I go back?
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
All jumps.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle?
Oh, no.
Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then. Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Okay. first figurine. Suddenly the game
God, it
is
really
a bit
is the
like
worst when you
game.
collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Okay. Resume. E button that says name. Merge. Okay, if I'm here, I just want to follow this wall to get my name being said out loud. No screenshots. Okay, let's do screenshot. Okay, didn't hear your name in the game because usually my name is pronounced.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Okay, let's press it.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Yeah, I can do that.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of...
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Okay, finally.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again.
Okay.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Okay, what's next? Yeah, as I said, English-speaking people usually call me Fronima when they read it. And I actually love the sound of it. I don't mind at all. Okay, there are two doors open. I think those are the doors that we came in. But I wouldn't mind a little bit like...
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Okay, what's here? Okay, there are some just holes. I didn't find any more figurine. Okay, reassurance bucket. Okay, let's see. If there will even be a bucket, you know. Nothing works so
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket.
I want
You
the
see,
bucket.
Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your
Yeah,
mind
like
and your
a
heart.
bucket
It's
like
true.
this.
As long as you
It's
hold on to
here.
the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Oh, it opened. Sorry.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Still not worth 30 euros. Okay, I have bucket. What can I do? Something?
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
I still don't think so. Like, I early became emotionally attached to
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
It doesn't count as figuring, I guess. Okay, I want some
Or
more
actually,
game.
maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Is it listening to me? But I feel so calm and happy holding the button. That's yeah, that's the infinity hole, possibly. More hole. Such hole. Many infinites. I think I'm going here.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right, infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Well, I think this is getting a little bit slow here, but obviously let's jump to the infinity.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
No. It's a no.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Is there any achievement to fall to the like end of infinity? Okay, I can
Okay,
try.
Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
Yeah.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
Okay.
Okay, well,
Achievement?
good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite.
I can go with that.
If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on.
Okay.
I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Okay, kind of ready to exit this location. Oh, there are doors. How do I get there? I guess I don't. It seems that I still can't. I want to jump there, and it's not possible. Okay, okay. Can I grab this one as a figurine? I suppose I can't. Okay, let's look on the map. Maybe we will find something. Collectibles, region map, 5 this map, okay. It's not like round, it should be on the map round. Collectibles, exit, okay, let's try to go to the exit. So we should follow, the left wall. Jump circle, exit. Those posters.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
I guess so. Is that me? Is this me? Or did you set up? These no screenshots.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Yay! So, yeah, not my
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind.
figurine.
Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Ooh, even more hot.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags.
Yeah.
And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
I didn't expect this. So, settings. That's actually the real settings. Credits. Grouse. Okay, begin the game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Yeah, I'm happy too.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket.
Okay, what can I do differently this time? Oh, no new content. Was it here, right?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You know, it's actually like fantasy-like that everyone has their own room. That's not what happens usually.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Whiteboard manager. Wow. Floor extents. Signatures. So to synergize papers. Papers are to synergize. Yeah, complete today unfinished agenda items. Yeah. Everyone is unique. You most of all. So I think this is still the same.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket.
Yeah, exactly.
You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
Yeah, let's
I
place
can
it.
really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand
I
over the
won't,
bucket.
actually.
I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Will anything change here? There's executive bathroom. Another place to meet the bucket. Oh!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these,
No.
only the intrinsic pleasure of a
Yes.
job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful
Okay, stop
figurines.
talking. So, I'm happy. Oh, what? There was something. Yeah, we already. Did we? What life it would be to have to pick just once. Okay. So I think when I was here last time, I saw some like a path go, and I didn't.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
It's all
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
No, I can't go there, so I think we have some choices here last time. Oh,
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs?
Stop
Or
talking.
what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I don't understand how is the word composed. But anyway, let's go down the elevator. Quicker in the bucket. Yeah, I got exactly what I wanted. Like, more like gamey part of
The elevator
game.
raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Yay! Is it infinite? Oh. Let's go there. Did I die? Me and my bucket. Or something. Very painful. Yay! Elevator's going sideways. Okay.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh. Bucket saved me?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
If I maybe went sideways? We survived! We're alive! We survived!
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Yeah, it was the best bucket, but Company and Cube, you know. I even have plushie of Company and Cube, and I'm still holding it when I'm falling to sleep. Not kidding. I just love it. The human mind is fragmently empty within, cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is really only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourselves and your loved ones as a result of the exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue live as you were in ignorance and darkness? Oh yeah, I will. Ignorance and darkness, that's my thing.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short
and I
life?
killed it. So many buckets. It's not 25. It's much more than 20. Is this the hole? Can I take it again? Please let me. Inferno bucket. Ooh. Billions died. No one can control the bucket. Okay, So where do we go? Okay, let's go here. The stress bucket. Yeah, this is actually like a psychological exercise to think about what gives you strength and what it takes away. Present it without commentary. I just edit commentary. Maybe I destroyed it by it. In the old days, they had bucket as well. The buckets predate the existence of mankind, allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of these treasures. Yeah, they are dancing. They are feeding the people. Okay.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Bucket and humanity. I want it. Let's go into Infinite Hall. Do I have it? Do I have it?
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Show me.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
I didn't reset the game. What is happening now? Okay, loading. The end is never the end. Okay, welcome back. Okay, why did the narrator change? Did I kill the narrator?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
I think he worked.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Also the figurines.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to... But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So, I guess I did that before, so let's not do it now. Oh no, this is the repeating thing.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Now achievement again. Okay, what do we do now?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I think there was something in those. Meeting today. Figurine Finders Committee. Yes. Let's go. Okay.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
So, meeting today for figurine finders. Is this different?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yeah. Because we want to find more figurines. This mission status. There will be a river. How can we find them? Their house access. Produced online. outside thing. Creases remain removed. Large room, lot of access. What's this? Stairs. Something to do with stairs. Something old freedom. Provided by employee 416. Is this figure?
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
For years then.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Did I?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
Oh, she has bucket.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Okay, I'm happy that your story got better. Okay, we are back at our table. So, okay, I'm not taking my bucket with me, and also different room that should be.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Exhausted all the possibilities in left door. Let's check it.
Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Okay, up is
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
and down is the repeating, right? So let's do boss. Because we still didn't do all the stuff that we couldn't do in.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
What was this?
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Yes, we do. Mercury, more elevator.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Would it be different if I had the bucket? Possibly.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
So last time we did everything it told us, right?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Like, if I can have my emotions, influenced to feel better.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
We are searching for 3. Remember, the next one is 3. I'm really bad at this kind of remembering. Okay, 3. 4. We need 4. You are 5. Where is the 4? Will there be some kind of self-destruct or something? Would I just oh, there is a button on top of this. I can't see shit. Oh no, I cannot go through here. have put the brightness up. About this door. So I pushed 1, 2, 3 so far. There is a camera or something. Okay, here is 0142 0521. I don't know, can I get there in any way? So it will be probably 0521. No, but I can't go there, so I don't know. I will skip the 4 and just press 5. And then I will turn it on instead of off, as I did before. You can check if the door opened, but I don't think it would. Was there any other way to check? Okay, so we are now in almost real game. When I'm trying to actually do something. But it's not working. Let's try to turn it on. Yeah, I already said that, I know. So, for now I was buying this.
And when at last he found the source of the room... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless, to see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Okay, I enjoyed this. We have 1 hour, so it's time to end this video. I will see you next time. Bye!